Some of the strategies which we have lined here are from government financing, public-private partnership, development partners, other resources, and green bond and carbon market. Those are some of the strategies we are putting across, and we have described them, how we are going to use them to maybe plug in the Your Excellency, this one cannot go without monitoring, evaluation, and learning. This is another chapter which we have discussed, how we have come up with a number of key indicators we are going to monitor, a number of key outputs, outcome indicators, and maybe midterm evaluation and end-term evaluation. This basically to tell us, are we on the right track? If we are off track, what can we do to bring us on track? So this is also described in the plan. Excellency, this one was just a brief of what is in the plan, and at this point, maybe after you have launched, we'll invite all the stakeholders to read, because we have taken care of everyone in the plan so that they can just go in and plug what they want to implement, and we look at the vision where we want to take the sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tom, for that. So our chief guest, I think now you know the real dynasties. He has just mentioned biodiversity loss, climate change, and extremes, among others. And I was just thinking while I was seated here, that how comes we are also part of the biodiversity, but we never mention ourselves? Because in our biology, we learned that there is two kingdoms, the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. And fortunately, we are among the mammals. And therefore, the issue of the biodiversity loss is very significant for us here. And so for us to move forward, we need to illustrate or demonstrate a little bit about what we are talking about from this strategic plan. One thing I would like to inform you is that the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry are the first among the ministries to start off on this. And so perhaps the rest will have to copy from us, either copy and paste or find out what you do. So I wish to call upon two amazing people who will actually give us a small illustration of what it means. And one of these amazing people is one Ngorongo, Lucy, who will talk a bit about sustainable waste management. In Chinese, we talk about kule kuzoa kwa taka kwa njia ambayo ni dhabiti. Welcome, Lucy.
Good morning, and Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, CS, PS, and all protocols observed. My name is Lucy Ngorongo. I am a garbage collector here in Nairobi, and I am happy to be here today because I think we are very, very resourceful, and especially in this particular event. Junkie Bins has been in operation since 2010, when we started the normal collection, transportation, and disposal of waste. And along the way, we realized that there's a lot of resources in what we or you people call waste, because we don't call it waste, we call it a resource. And as we proceeded on with the collection, we started realizing that we can upgrade or upscale what we collect. and we started segregation of waste in 2019. Segregation of waste is now what we are calling the new resource, because when we segregate our waste, we are able to recover a lot of facilities. What you call organic waste as takataka is food. What you call thrown away plastic is recyclable. And so in 2019, we started by recycling organic waste to poultry, pig, and fish feed, which is very, very healthy. We use a process called black soldier fly conversion, where we convert the organic waste to poultry feed, and the residue is fertilizer. So like Madam Jane was praying for us that we need to bring back, in Genesis, we're supposed to rejuvenate our land. That fertilizer is rejuvenating our land, and we are happy to be part of that process. We are also happy because, as we all know, the blue economy is affected because we are all feeding omena on everything, including ourselves. Now we are reducing the consumption of omena by giving the black soldier fly larvae to our chicken and pigs. That is something we are happy to report. And as we continued, we realized that it is not enough to just segregate the organic waste. We started something called a material recovery facility. The ministry has just talked about the circular economy. Linear economy was collection, transportation, and disposal of waste. Dandora is full. We've even started dumping all over. But now we are coming in to make sure that we do the circular economy. Circular economy is a loop where everything that is called waste is turned back to resource. And now we have a material recovery facility where we are taking all the waste that we collect, and we are also trying to reach out to the citizens, you and me, to understand circular economy, that we have to segregate our waste at source. At source is in your kitchen. Have 2 or 3 bins. When you prepare your food, put your organic waste in a different bag. Your plastic bottles, glass, put in a different bag. And we're also trying now to go to a third collection of non-recyclables like the diapers, the pampers, and the masks. We have a facility where we are doing this, and we shall be happy to invite you and see what we are doing. But we have one very small challenge. We need to create awareness. The circular economy model was rolled out in 2021. A lot of citizens, including people seated here, do not know what is circular economy model. So we need to let the citizens know what is circular economy. We teach them on the purpose or the importance of segregation of waste. We also want people to know about the Solid Waste Management Act. Not just the government or the county going out to arrest people for having mixed waste, but we need to let them know why we need to segregate the waste and what it means to us. And I'm happy to report today that for several years we've not been enjoying the cold in July. I wore my jacket specifically to confirm that the climate effects are slowly coming back because we are doing what we are supposed to do. So we are in July, it is cold. That is how it's supposed to be, right? I have only 5 minutes and I think I've been left with 2. So one of the biggest challenge, Honorable, is creation of awareness and capacity building. And when we do this with the MRF, we are creating opportunities. One, we are creating the clean green jobs. We have a lot of people at the dump site who are scavenging. They do not have the PPEs. They do not have the knowledge of what they are dealing with. But for us who are in this space, we have been training our staff on proper segregation, so we are giving them clean green jobs, and they're able to live a good life, healthy and wealthy. And we're also reducing the emissions at the dump site because, like for us, we collect 11 tons of waste per day, mixed waste. And out of this 11 tons, only 2 to 3 tons goes to the dump site for the moment. But when we get support and assistance, we want to have zero waste, zero landfill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we need to clap again for Lucy. Thank you very much. Nakushukuru sana Lucy kwa jitihada zako. I think now you can see already the strategic plan is starting to show signs that it will succeed. So at this juncture, I would wish to call upon the second speaker, who is a special guest. His name is Mandela Gaya. And he will speak about inclusivity with regard to people with disability. Gaya himself has a disability. And therefore, we would wish to see how we can also integrate the issues of disability, gender equity, among others, within this space. Karibu sana, Bwana Mandela.
The Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary, and the PSS available, and all protocols observed. Good morning. Let me hold this. I hope you're able to hear me clearly now. There you go. So my name is Guy Mandela, and also you can call me the blind billionaire. So you are so privileged to meet the blind billionaire this morning. Well, I just want to quickly speak about inclusivity for persons with disabilities. And I want to begin by telling you just a brief story of myself and why I get involved so much into forestry, agroforestry actually. I go out there and impact many lives, the lives of young people, those who are lost in drugs, those who are almost giving up and getting into depression. And I believe that my story impacts their lives such that they get to understand that when you become a friend to the environment and the ecosystem, your life can be absolutely, free from all these things, drugs, depression, and all that. Well, I was brought up by an industrious and agricultural grandmother who, until today, I'm surprised at how she was able to raise a blind child, a blind young man. Well, what she used to bring me up or to go to school most of the time was the trees that my dad had planted, because she was jobless at that time when my dad had passed on, murdered mysteriously, and my mom had gone to prison. And so we were just chasing the wind and all that. So that's a story for another day. But she brought me up by selling trees and planting more trees and, the agriculture and all that. So as I grew up, I believed that trees are really a resource that can change lives, because I went to school and now I can speak right next to the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who has actually not only been my idol in leadership, but also in eloquence. He's a wonderful speaker. So when I grew up and went to school, I realized that in Africa, disability is just a step away from poverty. Why? Because most of these people you see who are around, who are disabled, you see them on the streets begging, maybe. And the reason for which they are begging is because maybe they come from humble backgrounds, and their disabilities could be avoidable, maybe at early childhood, but they didn't have enough finances to do the same. So disability is just a step away from poverty, just because maybe government has not had a proper strategy on changing these lives. So as I came of age, I discovered that the trees, the same trees and plants that were used to bring me up to go to school, are also now changing lives, can be used to touch the lives of blind or other people with different disabilities. Why? Because these people are skilled. Some of them have not been able to go to school and complete, but they can, use trees to become carpenters. They are skilled in, creating different type of art. They are builders. You may be wondering how a blind person can be a builder, but you need to walk. Kutembea kwingi ni kuona mengi. So there are people who can do quite a lot of things, and also when they go to school, like myself, they can be consultants. They can, go to university and be taught on different aspects of the environment, the ecosystem, and all that, and impact the society in different ways. So, we have been brought up in a setup where most disabled people are thrown into specific professions, like, say, most blind people are teachers or lawyers or just some specific professions. But how I plea with the government, Your Excellency, that from now henceforth, this will inform this strategy plan, that those who are disabled can be placed in different professions, even in our higher learning institutions, such that they become people who are who can make change, who can bring an impact in the ecosystem as well. You know, in the Bible, when you read that story of that blind man who saw for the first time, the first thing he said was that, I can see people moving like trees. I can see things moving like trees. He didn't say people. Why? Because trees are always available to be touched. You know, not everyone will allow you to touch them. And so these blind people see through touch. And so this blind man had touched trees all his life. And so when he saw human beings moving, he thought those were trees, you know. And so that tells you that you must have a tree that represents you in this world. Not just a tree, but trees, okay?
Thank you very much.
My time is up, but we'll meet again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mandela. Nafikiri kwamba tumejifunza mengi, sio? Have we learned something? Yeah, thank you very much, Mandela, for that. And I'm happy to say that even in the strategic plan, 2023 to 2027, it will be all-inclusive. At the beginning of this event, I said that we are streaming so that all Kenyans can also join us. We join hands in issues that are highlighted in the strategic plan so that we can succeed. Chief Guest, I would like to say that you can already see the demonstration of the bottom-up, you know, economic transformation agenda. And therefore, I think this is something that we really need to work on. And at this juncture, I would wish to welcome our Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Engineer himself, Engineer Festus Ngeno. Let's have that rendition and karibu sana.
Thank you so much, MC. Let's give a round of applause to our MC, Mudavadi. And a big thank you to Tom Mirasi, our head of planning at the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change and Forestry. Kindly let's give a round of applause. We appreciate you, Your Excellency, the Chief Guest for today, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. We appreciate your presence, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Soipan Tuya, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, who is our team leader at the Ministry. We appreciate your presence and gracing this occasion too. The Principal Secretary is present, my colleague P.S. Mugambi in charge of Forestry and P.S. Muati from the Economic Planning. The development partners present, led by the chair, my co-chair in the development partners group from USAID, UNDP support to the strategic plan, Juan Anthony, and the various other development partners who are here. I'll give you a chance to speak. World Bank, USAID, GIZ, the development partners who have supported us. We appreciate you. I want to recognize especially the chair of the National Assembly, Environment and Forestry Committee and Mining, Honorable Kikaria, together with Honorable Beatrice Kemei. We work together, Your Excellency, with the National Assembly very well. And that's why they are here this morning. Excellencies, ambassadors present, board chairs of the state corporations of our parastatals, the CEOs, Director Generals of the various state corporations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today marks a significant occasion as we launch our strategic plan 2023-2027, guided by the triple P solution model: people, profits, and the planet. And we are in a very good venue. Your Excellency, the decision to bring this event here was made just some few days ago, and it was a directive from the Cabinet Secretary that we cannot launch a strategic plan in an hotel. We need to be in an ecosystem. We need to be in a forestry setup, and that's why we are here, Your Excellency. This is our venue as a government, managed by our state corporation, the Kenya Forest Service. So we are home. We didn't pay any shilling to be here, and we don't need to spend money to be in this venue. So the forest ecosystem within the city surrounds us, free of plastic, as our planet should be, reaffirms our commitment as the State Department of Environment and Climate Change. Before I progress and proceed on, Your Excellency, allow me, I think my co-MC forgot, to introduce who are here. I think it is important that you know who are here. So we have a big team. When you come here, Your Excellency, you will see we have a big team seated here. And this is the State Department or the Ministry of Environment, Forestry, and the Climate Change staff. Kindly be upstanding for the Prime Camp to Cabinet Secretary to see you. The staff from the ministry, the entire staff of the ministry. Thank you so much. This informs you, Your Excellency, that this is not our plan. This is the plan of the ministry, and the staff must get involved for us to deliver. We appreciate you be seated. Also, I want to recognize the chairman of the various boards, the CEOs of the parastatals first. If you are here, I know you are among the staff, but we have the CEOs of our state corporations. We have Net Fund, we have Kenya Water Towers, Carefree, KFS. I know there are two who are already in the chairman of the various boards of the state corporations. They are here. One of them will be able to speak. We have the chairman KFS, chairman Kenya Water Towers, chairman Net Fund, chairman NEMA, and chairman of NEC available with us this morning. Allow me also to introduce the various development partners who are here. Be upstanding. I might not be able to know who is here now, but kindly all the development partners and our development partners group, led by our chair of the USAID. So those are development partners that we work closely together, will be recognized by the chair when I ask her to come and speak at some point. So for us to progress, Your Excellency, allow me to invite the CEO Net Fund. One of our key strategic resultant areas is about partnerships and resources for us to deliver on the plan. And the National Environment Trust Fund is responsible for resource mobilization. So for only 2 minutes, tell us how we are going to finance the plan. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, PS. The Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is our chief guest, our CS, the 3 PSS present, our development partners led by our biggest supporter, UNDP, Anthony Ngororano, and USAID. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honored to be here, and I think we have been taken through the strategic plan. We have 5 key result areas, and the 5th key result area is on resource mobilization and partnerships. And I think it's important to highlight that the strategic plan, one, has been prepared taking into cognizant or aligning to the various global issues at play, issues on climate change, issues on biodiversity, issues on pollution control, and other general issues. So to our development partners, I think we have now shared our priority areas. We welcome you to partner us, because I think for us to fight issues of climate change, or the major issues, the tripartite climate issues, all of us need to join us and to build synergies to confront this. So we therefore welcome you to join our hands to conquer this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Samson is the CEO Net Fund on behalf of the various CEOs that we have here. Allow me to invite Chairman KFS to just make few remarks on behalf of all the other chairmen. Kindly.
our chief guest, Prime Cabinet Secretary, our CS Soipan Tuya, our development partners, Chairman present, the PSS, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mine here is just to say that this progress on our strategic plan was all involving the boards, the management, the ministry. We were all involved in coming up with this strategic plan. And what I could say on the issue of resource mobilization, there's been a lot of talk from, I think, misinformation on why even the moratorium on plantation, sustainable plantation management, the presidential directive to open up the forests is not the whole forest. What we have in Kenya is 2.5 million hectares of forest cover. What we have as plantations, these are the cypress, these are the eucalyptus, and this is Pinus patula. It's only 150,000 hectares. This is just 5% of the forest cover we have in this country. This 5% is what we use to raise the money, that's the resource mobilization, to pay our staff, and to protect the forest, the 2.5 million we are talking about. At Kenya Forest, we got the professionals in forestry. This financial year, we intend to harvest only 5,000 hectares. And if we continue sustainably like that, harvesting 5,000 hectares every year, in the next 35 years, we would have done the 150,000, by which time the forest that we harvested this year will be ready for harvesting. So our brothers in the forest state, in the media, in the Law Society of Kenya, it's good that you understand us. When we talk of all those resources that we need to plant the 15 billion trees, Kenya Forest will want to pull our weight by getting resources ready to assist in the plantation, nurturing of the forest, and the development in sustainable forest management. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And indeed, it is important that we are inclusive in our conversations, and we do appreciate the remarks from the colleagues, the Chairman, and also the CEO of NetFund. Allow me now to transition and ask the colleague partners from the development partners. Well, allow me to invite the chair, my co-chair. Your Excellency, I chair the Development Partners Group in the ministry, and now privileged also to co-chair with Beatrice Wamalo from USAID as they help us in our strategic planning and also in financing what we require as a sector and as a ministry. Welcome, Beatrice, and we appreciate your support, and tell us how you are going to support us to implement our strategic plan as our development partners colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. I see PS is committing us already. Yeah, so Prime Cabinet Secretary, CS Tuya, all PSs, honorable guests, good morning. So I'm joined here today by quite a number of my fellow development partners. We have UNDP, we have World Bank, we have GIZ, we have the European Union, and many others. I'm truly, truly honored to be part of this important day for Kenya and its remarkable resources. As you know, the government of Kenya and the United States and many other countries have partnered on past and current environment activities. So as co-chair of the Environment Donor Group and as the acting director of USAID's Environment Office here in Kenya and East Africa, I'm thrilled to be part
na tukaangalia. One of the issues that I asked myself is katika mandate yetu kama committee, hii strategic plan inaingilia wapi? How are we supposed to come in the strategic plan? Do we? So lakini nilipoangalia our standing order 216 5A and B inquire into whatever the ministry does or any of their activities at the ministry level, at the departmental level, tukasema tutaweza kuingilia, tuje tuangalie the launch of this very important thing ambayo tunaenda ku launch leo, the strategic plan ya ministry. And we want to say as a committee in Parliament, we commit ourselves to fully support the ministry kupitia for the last almost 9 months that we've been in place since we were constituted. We have worked very closely with the ministry to be able to achieve. But again, Prime Cabinet Secretary, our strategic plan is just a strategic plan if it doesn't have a few of the things that have just been emphasized here by the few people who have spoken. Wa kwanza ilikuwa ni yule dada yetu ambaye aliongea kuhusu mambo ya the solid waste management. Kitu moja alisema pale ni awareness. If we can have this strategic plan ambayo ministry ambayo haipeleki kwa, because at the end of the day it is not what we are talking about here, this venue. It's about what will be implemented by the locals. Kule mashinani ndio itaweza kulete umuhimu ya strategic plan. Kwa hivyo awareness, tutaomba waziri pamoja na timu yako muweze kupatia hii masomo kwa Wakenya so that they can be able to understand what is all about environment, solid waste management, mambo ya forestry na mambo mengine. Kwa hivyo awareness is something that is very key. Over and above that, the implementation of the strategic plan. Inataka hela kidogo. There is where we come in as Parliament, that we must also align the strategic plan with our, of course, over the 5 years, the BPS, the budget policy statement, and the budgets that we'll be having within the 5 years for us to be able to implement what we have. And that is, again, what we will be doing in Parliament to be able to support the ministry in terms of seeking for more funding, again, from the central government for them to be able to, of course, not forgetting our development partners who will be coming in to be able for us to be able to implement what we intend to do in our strategic plan. But most importantly, it's the results and the output after that. Have we achieved? And what evaluation and monitoring and follow-up of what we have decided here to be able to get what we intend to have. And I think that is key as Parliament. We have, when we were constituted, the ministry was given very little budgets. And we are privy to that, Mheshimiwa Prime Cabinet Secretary, that we have various departments within the ministry ambaye are a little bit incapacitated in terms of effectively handling what they are supposed to do. Part of them is like NEMA. NEMA, if you look at the work staff within the NEMA composition, they cannot be able to effectively be able to implement this, what we are. So again, as Parliament, we have been trying to ask for more funding so that NEMA can be able to have their human resource improved in terms of the optimum level that we can be able to. Because seriously also, that we also need to look at, and we ask the ministry to look into, is about the enforcement. Kenyans sometimes, irrespective of sometimes how much you put a lot of awareness and tell them about our laws, again, they just don't care. You travel. I was coming from Nakuru, and there was a bus ahead of me. People were just taking mahindi there and sawdust, and then he just opened the doors and just throw something out of the window. Then who collects that? So again, enforcement is something that is key, that we need to look into as a ministry for us to be able to achieve this. Of course, not forgetting His Excellency the President has really emphasized on the importance of environment, and of course Executive Order number 1 changed the name of the ministry to climate change. We look forward to September, the huge meeting conference that will be here. Him as the chair, again, will give all the support. I happen to have attended the meeting that was in United Nations the other day, and I want to commit that as a committee, my committee is committed to be able to give all the support that the ministry requires so that we can be able to achieve whatever we are supposed to do that. With those few remarks, I want to say asanteni sana, and I look forward to the launch. And of course, Professor, I almost called you, oh, you are a professor, by the way, you have a PhD. He comes from my county, actually the neighboring constituency. And we are proud that as a county now, we have been remembered by this government. At least for the first time we gave us a cabinet secretary. We have 2 PSs. We are proud. We look forward to meeting PS Mugambi. I think we've not met, hopefully next week, where we can be able now to start our work plan and be able to work together as a team. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Prime Cabinet Secretary, I think you've had for yourself. We really work closely with our committee led by our CS. We respond to the queries and the various meetings that we continue having with them. I think the critical aspect that he has brought up is about the budget deficit. We are all aware. We are a critical ministry. CS always reminds us that we all live for the country. Article 42 of the Constitution is about a right to healthy environment. And this is the minister that is tasked to provide that. Climate change issues that are happening is critical, and we are the ministry that is responsible for the same. Prime Cabinet Secretary, our Chief Guest, the launch of the Strategic Plan 2023-2027 is anchored under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, Peter, under the Kenya Kwanza administration, the Kenya Kwanza plan, and it has been exposed on the 5 key resultant areas. And the top 5 priorities under and within the various sector, especially for our land and natural sector, which of course we heavily lead, the environment and climate change, the forestry, blue economy, fisheries, wildlife, mining, and tourism, culture, and asals are critical. And we identify the 5 key areas that we are working on: the natural resources governance, the revenue and tax base that we need to increase, the sustainable waste management as alluded, natural resources, the conservation, restoration, and management or ecological investment, and including the livelihoods and job creation. And that has been exposed, and that's what we are focusing as a sector, and of course we brought into the ministry. Allow me now, Prime, to invite PS from the National Treasury, PS Mudavadi, to just give few comments on how we fared on in our strategic plan. Remember, we have done this strategic plan guided by the State Department of Economic Planning, whether we are doing the right thing or not. Kindly, I'll give him a round of applause as he comes to talk to us. Welcome, please.
Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Cabinet Secretary, Suipantuya, my colleagues, PS Ngeno and PS Mugambi, chairs of the boards here represented, the CEOs, and other stakeholders and partners, good morning. Your Excellency, mine is just in the interest of time, to be able to appreciate your presence together with us. This is the first ministry to be able to launch its strategic plan. And I want to confirm, as the chair, you being the chair of all the technical committees of the principal secretaries in regard to projects, implementation, monitoring and evaluation,
and being the person responsible for performance management in government, that honors responsibility in ensuring that this government delivers on its promises to the Kenyan citizen, that this strategic plan, as you are aware, is one of the tools that is very critical in the implementation of the key priorities and agenda for this government. I want to confirm that this strategic plan conforms to the guidelines, like has been reported here, that we have issued from the State Department of Economic Planning. And we will be able to work together with your office in aligning, ensuring that all the key performance indicators are aligned, both in the PCs and also in the annual performance reports, to support them so that they can be able to deliver. So with those few remarks, I thank you very much, PS. Yeah.
Thank you so much, PS Muati from Economic Planning. Prime Cabinet Secretary, you've heard from the horse's mouth that we have complied. And we are the first ministry to launch the strategic plan 2022-2027. We deserve a round of applause. And I would like to also confirm to you, and I know CS might have mentioned to you, we will be the first ministry to sign the PCs. We are doing it on Monday at 2 p.m. The performance contracting for the ministry. So we are pacesetters. I think others will follow us as we progress. Over the next 5 years, Your Excellency, we will prioritize critical initiatives such as the National Integrated Ecosystem Landscape Restoration towards the 15 billion tree growing program, and we will be anchoring on the 15 billion tree growing program and the wetlands and restoration, riparian restoration program. And I would like now to invite the person who is at the center of the same to be able to expound on the same. So allow me to invite my colleague PS Mugambi to come and give his remarks. PS Mugambi had asked for us all. I don't know what the hell you know about
Thank you so much. Our chief guest, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, our CS, Madam Soifan, Honorable Soifan, my colleagues, principal secretaries, that's one for national planning, and my colleague in environment and climate change, the development partners and our supporters who are here, our oversight committee, the committee that oversights us, led by the chairman, Gekaria, Honorable Gekaria, the Mandam from the same committee, Honorable, I know I will run as I continue. You will have to forgive me sometimes, but we are together on this. The chairman of various institutions under the ministry, CEOs, my colleagues, staff from the ministry, all the guests. Please, me nikisema good morning, unajua mimi naitangwa Mr. Kupanda miti. Sema panda muti. Good morning. Good morning once again. That's the work that I've been given by the Excellency, the President of this country, and the Prime Minister here. And I've been given a CS who gives me direction on how to go about it. So mimi siko na kazi mbili, kazi yangu ni kupanda miti. Na nikipanda miti, I am able to sort out ngeno on its biodiversity and many other, and also improve the life standard of Kenyans. Honorable Prime Minister, I would say that, with your permission, I would say that as in the forestry, we prescribe and we are part and parcel of the strategic plan that has been presented here. We work together and we have come with it. And we are very clear on the things that we are supposed to do in the next 5 years in order to deliver the vision under this strategic plan. Say also, I will remind my colleague Ngeno, for me, I stand here, this is the second strategic plan I'm involved in launching. There is another one we launched in the Ministry of Water, but I think we forgot that it required that level, because it was a key level. This one, it shows now it has been done properly. And I think I will ask my colleagues in the water to repeat the same so that it can meet these standards. I want to say this. Honorable Prime Minister, you have given us a target of 15 billion trees, right from the president of this country. And 15 billion trees, because that is the campaign we're having now. What does it mean? It means a lot for this country. And I think, if you can allow me, I will say this. I was sitting there with my friend, the PS in national planning, and I was asking him slowly, what is the GDP of this country? And he gave me a figure which confirmed what I was thinking about, of 15 trillion. That's the GDP of this country. But if we grow this 15 billion trees in the next 10 years, and we assume every tree is just worth farm gate level 10 million, in the next 10 years, we will be able, it's worth 10,000. In the next 15 years, it means we have added to the GDP of this country by 150 trillion Kenya shillings, at a modest figure of a tree of just 10,000 Kenya shillings. Lakini I know, when these people buy trees at about, the chairman, they buy at around, the figures we sell, we know, they're modest figures. They are able to make about 40,000 just by doing the timber. Now look at the furniture. By the time you go to the furniture, look at the jobs that you create. And more so, you sort out the environment. And more so, we sort out the biodiversity issue. So, Honorable Gekaria, our chairman, when I come to you next time to plead that, please, ongeza kidogo, because I want to bring the 150 trillion economy to add to what we have to this country, and it is doable. The other thing I want also to say, Your Excellency, is that on the 7th of this month, ile inaitangwa Sabasaba, but we were arranged by the Excellency, the President of this country, Honorable Ruto, and you were there, and we went for racing. The President was number one. He planted 15 trees in 1 minute and 59 seconds. He was number one. And I remember, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, you are number two. You planted 14 trees. And in the same time, you planted 14 trees. What does this mean? If within about 2 minutes, our president can plant 15 trees, it means in 2 minutes, he can plant 30 trees. Isn't it? I think there are mathematics, I'm right. Isn't it? Now, in a year, we have over 525,000 minutes. And we are saying, just set aside 2 minutes, and plant that trees. Because if every Kenyan plant that trees per year, it means we will be able to plant 1.5 billion trees in a year, and we will be able to hit our target. And if you continued and just set aside 1 hour, then you can plant in a year 450 trees. And that would be a plus, a big plus for this country. Prime Minister, cabinet, the cabinet, the prime cabinet secretary, we are targeting to plant trees in the natural forests that we have, and also to plant trees outside the forest in our farmlands. And we are encouraging also fruit trees, because as we wait for the 10 years to harvest that tree, tunakula matunda. If they are school, wanapata chakula pale. If it is an homestead, we are able to sell the fruits and also add to the to the incomes of the various people in this country. But as we do all this, we also undertake, and this one is within the strategic plan that we have here, we are undertaking also to improve the management of our forest. Because, as Mandela said, forest is business. And he has become a millionaire out of trees. So we cannot also plant trees and let them go to waste. That is why the element of harvesting comes in, and we are very happy because the president was able to see that and give us a go ahead by removing the moratorium which was there, so that we can harvest. But we are pledging that we will do this harvesting in a sustainable manner, and also we will manage it so that it is not misused. At this point also, I want to say that we are working with the communities. We continue working with the communities. These are the community forest associations, and they are offering a lot of support. They are offering a lot of support in management of this forest, and we know through that, then it is going to be sustainable. We also know we need to fence our forest. Right now, Your Excellency, we have about 13,000 kilometers of forest. The perimeter of our forest is about 13,000 kilometers. And to date, we have fenced about 5,000, or rather 13,000, we have fenced about 4,000. We have 9,000 kilometers to go. One thing which we have seen is that the forests which are fenced, like if you go around Mount Kenya, you see some resemblance of a forest. But the forests which are not fenced, Your Excellency, we have a major problem, because there's a lot of illegal activities that are happening in those places. We have called upon the KFS, that's the Kenya Forest Service, and we know, of course, there is how much they can do. The forest will come in handy, because it will assist in controlling of activities there, and at the same time also, this fencing will assist also in what we are calling natural regeneration of the trees in this forest. Your Excellency, we know also we are getting a lot of support from your office and also from our cabinet secretary's office in the area of legal framework. We are working, and currently we don't have an approved forest national forest policy, but we have worked on one which will be coming in front of you to have it approved so that we can have a policy. And immediately it is approved, Your Excellency, then we will be able to embark on reviewing of the Forest Act that we have currently and redirect it so that it can address to the modern times and modern requirement. I also take this opportunity to thank you so sincerely, because tree planting has been put under the performance contract of which you oversee for various government agencies, with very clear instructions on they must plant trees. And also, we know also, we will be indicating that every public servant, at least they become agent of planting the 30 trees per year. And with that, we have a starting point where we have the government, the own government, showing an example. Your Excellency, the only request I would put here, if possible, let us increase this target a bit, because the target now is about 30 trees per person. If we increase it to around 100 trees per person within the public service, we can get where we are going very, very, very faster than we are doing. So with this and so many things, what I know is that, and what is very clear is that, if we plant this, if we meet this target of 15 billion trees, we will be able to move our tree cover from the current about 6% to 30%. And that one will also speak to the UN target of that by that, and hence also sort out the issues of my colleague who is now coming to chase me away from here. Yeah, and I understand why. So I call for more support from our Parliament committee, and I believe I can see they are nodding. They have already given me that. Please increase your kitu kidogo. Then I also know your office is supporting us. I know I have a lot of support from Cabinet Secretary's office, and also at the same time also I call upon our supporter in area of financing to look at it and see how we can increase this. So with this and many more, which I would say next time, I tend to end there, and thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, colleague P.S. Mugambi. And I needed to step out of the podium. Now he's my colleague at the ministry. You know, if I stay around here, he will now go and deal with me later. Your Excellency, we will aim to reform the carbon markets framework as a State Department of Environment and Climate Change for the greater good of the people and nature, while emphasizing the circular economy to eradicate plastic from our environment, sustainable waste management. And I think the conversation that young lady, the lady that spoke on sustainable waste management, which is at the heart of Cabinet Secretary's vision on the circular economy. And I want to confirm that we are working on the circular economy strategy that will be critical for us. Our focus also extends to the various crucial regulations. He mentioned about the Forest Track. From the State Department of Environment and Climate Change, the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, EMCA, is now under process. I know the National Assembly will be waiting this with bated breath for us to be able to deliver on the various legislations. And you are aware that EMCA is our mother law in the ministry, and we need to make sure that comes on board. And the Success Management Act of 2022, the CS is providing directions how that could be anchored within also the EMCA conversations. And of course, you are aware, and this has come to Parliament, is on the Amendment of Climate Change Act 2016. We have now the Climate Change Amendment Bill 2023 in Parliament for purposes of us handling the carbon markets conversations. Climate action, Your Excellency, mainstreaming is not one of our biggest priorities. It is going to be a game changer, and I hope we have all registered, and my colleague mentioned, for the upcoming Africa Climate Summit, which is at the heart of the ministry, and the Africa Climate Week in Nairobi between 4 to 6 of September 2023 and 4 to 8 of September 2023 concurrently. And as this morning or a few minutes ago, I've just confirmed, as we were talking, Your Excellency, we were at 6,500 registered delegates. As we speak now, we are at 6,800. So the numbers are growing, and we hope that you will participate in this climate summit, which is at heart and the focus of the ministry. And this is very strategic because our President, His Excellency President William Ruto, is the chair of the Committee of the African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change. We'll be having also a youth on board at the Africa Assembly with a pre-summit between the 1st and the 3rd of September 2023. I must express sincere gratitude to our development partners, as mentioned, and chair of the Development Partners Group, World Bank, KfW, USAID, China, COICA, UNEP, UNDP, FDP, Danida, GIZ, JICA, UNESCO, SIDA, USAID, UNICEF, Danish. Without your support, our goals will not be attainable. At this juncture, Your Excellency, allow me now to invite Anthony, who is the UNDP resident representative, to give his remarks. But I'm told, Anthony, we must sing fast before you come on board. And he's one of our strategic partners who have supported us in our development of the strategic plan. So, Anthony, you'll have to dance to the songs as we progress. Let's give a round of applause to Anthony as we also get engaged with a small break. I know we've been sitting, we are almost there, Your Excellency. After Anthony, we'll have the CS and yourself. So we are almost coming to the tail end of our process. So Anthony, whether you want to dance here or there, it's up to you now. Do you want us to stand and enjoy the beats together? Kindly, let's be upstanding. Your Excellency, just for this brief moment, it's important.
Tupande miti kwa wingi, tupande tusichoke, maisha yetu duniani ni miti tegemeo. Tupande miti kwa wingi, tupande tusichoke, maisha yetu duniani ni miti tegemeo. Wakenya wote sikizeni, uhai wetu sote ni miti. Tupande miti tuishi vyema, tujenge Kenya imara. Tupande miti tuishi vyema, tujenge Kenya imara. Kivuli, maji, hewa nzuri yatoka kwenye miti.
You can be seated. Anthony. Come.
Tegemea miti. Kivuli, maji, hewa nzuri yatoka kwenye miti. Ustaarabu maishani wategemea.
Asante sana. Asanteni sana. A round of applause. Thank you so much.
Uhai wetu sote ni miti. Tupande miti tuishi vyema, tujenge Kenya imara.
Asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. Prime Cabinet Secretary. Yeah, I needed your attention. That is internal resource. We've not, that is a choir from KFS. We have a band from KFS. We are, as a ministry, we don't procure services from outside. We use our internal resources. I think also, I think this tent also might be ours. I don't know. So we make sure that we use our resources prudently. So allow me to invite Anthony to give his remarks. Karibu, Anthony.
Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya, Permanent Secretaries, Members of Parliament, members of civic society, the private sector, watu wote, good morning. My name is Anthony Ngororano. I'm the UNDP resident representative to Kenya. It's really a momentous moment. We were so proud to be here to witness the launch of this strategic plan. Many have spoken before me, and so I'll try not to replicate or repeat what has been said. But I have mainly 5 messages. But before that, I think I want to ask us all to join our hands and clap for really this great achievement that we're celebrating today. Kenya's development trajectory really rests on 2 pillars. One that is not the subject of today, but nonetheless integral, is its human capital. Kenya, as opposed to many other countries in the region, has developed to reach where it is on the basis of these resources above the ground. But the second leg is natural capital. And in order for Kenya to basically accelerate, sustain, maintain, and protect gains, this plan speaks very clearly to what must be done in terms of natural capital. Saying that, however, this plan is not just a plan born on any other day. this plan is timely. It's timely because in terms of the nature, the extent, the frequency of shocks, we are at an inflection point. The next 5 years are not going to be the same as the last 5 years. I think in the last months, we all witnessed firsthand the impact of the drought. The drought, as you know, was unprecedented. It was unprecedented in terms of its impact on nature. It was unprecedented in terms of its impact on civilization and humanity. And so, as we move into an increasingly uncertain future, it is so important to be here today to really mark the beginnings, if you will, and the launch of a plan that responds in many ways to the futures and to the challenges we face. And so my first message is about urgency, right? Business as usual no longer works, right? The evidence is clear. The models, the approaches, the ways of working need us to rethink. My second message is around essentially coherence. Coherence specifically around policies, programs, and investments. And simply put, we must make sure in the implementation of this plan that the sum is greater than the parts. Okay? And we do so for a range of reasons, not least of which the shrinking public and private resources available, but also, as I was alluding to earlier, the increasing and changing complexity. My third message is around strategic focus and staying the course. This will be absolutely critical. And more than ever, there is a premium on our being agile, our being flexible, and also on ingenuity, right? Ingenuity because more and more we are responding to new problems. I think we saw in the context of the COVID pandemic that with all our technology, with all our knowledge, with all our resources globally, it didn't take much to bring this to a standstill. And so I think in all of this, in the face not only of tomorrow's shocks and tomorrow's challenges, we must stay the course. And we must build on the investments generally, but also of the last plan. The last plan saw the successful implementation of around, I think, 185 projects. That totaled around, I think, an investment of 66 billion Kenya shillings. And that cannot be laid to waste. Just because we're looking to the future doesn't mean that we forget the gains made in the past. My fourth message has been spoken to, and I think it's sufficiently important to speak to again. And that's the importance of unlocking climate finance. Why? Because first and foremost, it is indispensable. And more so, it is really now that the investments have been made in order to give us a chance, a fighting chance, to meet the ambitious targets we have for 2030, and even looking forward at 2050, because I think, at least in terms of the projections that we have with regards to what Kenya, East Africa, and the world will look like in 2050, many of those messages are sobering, and it is so therefore we make these investments that will protect us and our families and our children tomorrow. At the heart of Kenya's efforts to meet the agreements and the obligation under Paris is the NDC, the Nationally Determined Contribution. And maybe to leave you on this one with one message, right? This is really the scale of ambition that we have. We have, in the case of Kenya, a gap with regards to the National Determined Contribution of around 4.5 trillion shillings, right? This is 4.5 trillion shillings that through and I think in terms of the climate summit in September, one of the big items championed globally by His Excellency the President has been around the reform of the international financial architecture. And that's all well and good, and I think this is not today's topic. But alongside this, we need to look inwards. We need to ask ourselves the question, and I think the plan sets us in good stead. Are we making the most of capitalizing on domestic resources available? Are we working with the private sector to align their considerable resources with the SDGs in general and many of the goals articulated here? My last message is around partnership, and partnership is at the core of this plan. Partnership is why we are all seated here together, and partnership is the only way through which we are going to help Kenya to propel its development journey and do so in a way that is not only inclusive but also sustainable. Partnership, however, has an anchor. I think it has one principal anchor, and that is mental clarity. That is really unity in purpose. And I think through her leadership, CS Soipan, and of course His Excellency, the President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, exemplify one of these critical preconditions we need to have a fighting chance in terms of the challenges that are before us. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again.
Who has been our key supporter, even as we worked on our strategic plan. Prime Cabinet Secretary, we are almost there. But allow me to, I'm happy that PS Mugambi confirmed that whatever they launched had not met a threshold. So this still remains the topmost. And I think PS Mugati has just whispered to me that it is going into the annals of the books of history that this really met a threshold in terms of how we've done the strategic plan. Allow me to introduce or to just ask Tom and the team tirelessly. I was told if I don't recognize them, Prime and the CS, they were going to come to your office after this. So allow me to kindly, all the technical teams that worked on the strategic plan, apart from the support from the council, kindly, I know they are all internal staff from the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. We are all here. We there, so it is internal. We did not we needed it to be owned from the bottom and coming up. And here we are. Thank you so much. We appreciate them. A round of applause for the team led by Tom. Allow me now, Your Excellency, to invite our Cabinet Secretary. But before she comes, CS, you will not just come like that. No, the staff have told me to pass this message to you, that they hear that you are a good CS, a good lady, but I want to confirm from where I sit, because I think I work with you very, very closely, that I have a boss that really listens to ideas, external ideas, and that has made us to thrive as a ministry. And PS Mugambi, as I know you mentioned, you've been with her for almost around 2-3 months, but she's a great lady. She provides leadership, clarity of mind, the things that we are put on the strategic plan. Tom confirmed one thing. There is, at the last validation workshop, we intentionally remained behind as PSS, and we sent the CS alone to go there and provided the leadership that was required, because we needed someone else to be able to look at the things, and she did it amazingly. We appreciate you, CS, as our team leader. I'm saying this on behalf of the staff of the entire ministry. So, band, there is a song that CS has requested that she needs to be escorted with as she comes to do the address. Oh, is it the meeting? Yes. So CS comes as you dance the song. Thank you so much, and we appreciate the CS as she comes to address us. Are you going to dance to it?
Thank you very much. Thank you. But I can see the band is not even singing. Thank you so much. The Prime Cabinet Secretary, Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, honorable members of Parliament, my sister Kemei, and we call him team leader. And we served together in Parliament for 10 years. Honorable Gikaria, who has been very supportive to the ministry. The PSS, PS Environment and Climate Change, Engineer Festus Ngeno, PS Forestry, Mugambi, and the PS Planning, Honorable Muhati. Excellency Ambassadors, I know we have the Deputy Ambassador from the Swedish Embassy. Finnish Embassy. And our development partners, led by our brother here, Anthony Gororano, the UNDP resident representative, the UNDP staff, USAID, World Bank, GIZ, the EU, and all other partners whom I might not have mentioned. Board chairs, I realize also that we have a number of board members who might not have been asked to stand up, and I'll just at this point ask them to stand up. I see many of them, just to recognize you. Chief executive officers of various state corporations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellency, I'll just start off by saying that our key priorities as a ministry are anchored around, beside the strategic plan language, the key areas that we have picked that we want to run with, Your Excellency, is ecosystem restoration, which is where we have our tree growing initiative, waste management, which has been spoken into quite a bit here, and climate action, which carries an array of activities. And this is where our strategic plan is coalescing around. Your Excellency, Prime Cabinet Secretary, I want to thank you so much for honoring us with your presence this morning. We are very grateful as a ministry. We are inspired and encouraged to keep doing what we have to do. It's my pleasure and privilege to host you this morning at the official launch of the Ministry Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027. One of the reasons we have had to move fast, Your Excellency, is because it's difficult to operate without a strategic plan. And when we came in as a government, as has been said here by Tom, I think the last strategic plan ended in June of last year, December of last year. So we have been operating without a strategic plan, and it became very critical that we embark aggressively on putting in place a strategic plan. And it helps all of us, including our partners, to internalize the government priorities and for all of us to work towards meeting our pledges to the people of Kenya. As a ministry, we are aware of the critical role played by the environment, climate action and forestry sector in sustaining life, supporting livelihoods, and driving Kenya's economic transformation agenda. The plan that we present here today embodies our shared vision of a world where our environment is protected, our climate stable, and our forests thriving. It reflects our determination to address the pressing issues facing our planet and build a resilient and sustainable environment for ourselves and for future generations. Our mandate as a ministry to protect, conserve, restore, and manage the environment and its resources require a multi-sectoral approach and inclusion of all sectors and players. And we have tried to embody this in this strategic plan that we launched today. And I can confirm, Your Excellency, that it's been a very rigorous exercise. Tom, as a team planning leader, will tell you that they have come to us several times and we have kept taking them back to the boardroom to make sure that we get it right. I am delighted to note that most of the stakeholders in the environment and natural resources sector were greatly involved in the development of this strategic plan, and I want to assure all of you that all your views and contributions went a long way in making this plan what it is today. Receive my greatest assurance that we will take a similar approach of working with you to ensure full implementation of the plan. The environment and natural resource sector faces vast and complex challenges. Climate change continues to accelerate and wreak havoc on communities and ecosystems around the globe. Biodiversity loss, deforestation, pollution, and resource depletion further exacerbate these challenges. We will, however, not wring our hands and fold our arms in despair. As a ministry, we are taking the lead to ensure that in Kenya, we are rising together to deal with these challenges. And my ministry will leverage on emerging issues, including the carbon markets, artificial intelligence, to ensure that our vision of a clean, safe, healthy, sustainably managed, resilient environment and natural resources is achieved. We will aspire to safeguard a sustainable environment, ensure healthy ecosystems, protect biodiversity in line with our obligations under our various bilateral and multilateral regulatory and policy frameworks. We will be guided by the Kenya Vision 2030 and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, BETTER, and it is these documents that have informed this strategic plan today. The plan, as has been espoused here, is based on the 5 key result areas, which I will not mention again, and this will provide a roadmap towards full implementation of this strategy. We have outlined clear goals, objectives, and strategies that will guide our actions. Our strategic plan recognizes the importance of integrating environmental considerations into all sectors of our society and economy. It underscores the urgency of empowering communities, building capacity, and promoting sustainable practices. As has been mentioned here by the Honorable Gikaria, we take it seriously that one of the things we have to do, Your Excellency, is really create a lot of awareness for our communities and for Kenyans, because the nature of environmental, climate change, and forestry issues is that it is not a government action. It has to be bought by everybody. We have to join hands right from our communities at the grassroots level, all ministries, departments, and agencies of government. It has to be an all-government, all-society, all-community approach. And therefore, we are going to focus on, that serious need for awareness creation, so that we also don't have a lot of misinformation going around. And I want to just echo what the chairman of KFS has said. You know, if we go out there, and I want to challenge the staff here, we have a decentralized system of staff. The Kenya Forest Service, you are in every part of this country. You need to go out and explain to Kenyans what the commercial forestry aspects of our sustainable ecosystem restoration is all about, so that we don't have misinformation going around, that when we embark on commercial forestry, that it is going to negate the ecosystem restoration efforts that we are undertaking as a country. Our president keeps saying there is no point in importing some very basic wood products. I think we even import toothpick, beds, chairs, and yet we have the capacity to sustainably do commercial forestry in this country, feed our wood industry sector, which will create jobs and enhance our GDP. So we need to embark on that aggressive awareness creation so that Kenyans can join hands with us. And by no means is the lift of the moratorium touching on our indigenous forest. The chair has properly stated that the lift of the moratorium affects only 5% of our gazetted forests, and the rest 2.5 million hectares is intact, and we are going to work around the clock to make sure that we protect our resources. Ladies and gentlemen, under our strategic plan, we recognize the central role of forests in mitigating climate change, conserving biodiversity, and providing livelihoods. We emphasize the need to protect and restore our forests, ensuring their sustainable management and utilization. We will leverage on the potential of nature-based solutions to enhance resilience, sequester carbon, and promote sustainable development. Under our strategic plan, we identify ecosystem restoration as one of the key result areas, and part of the activities towards this that the ministry will implement is restoration of our various ecosystems, including landscapes, wetlands, forests, rangelands by conducting the National Tree Growing and Restoration Program that seeks to grow 15 billion trees in 10 years. Your Excellency, we have almost 10,000 wetlands in this country. And around our wetlands, we can plant trees all year round because there is water available. All we need to do is have a holistic approach to the tree growing initiative. And one of them, with the support of UNDP, we've done a fencing gap of our ecosystems, including the gazetted forests, the wetlands, so that we seek the support of our partners. When you help us with the fencing of our wetlands, we can plant trees all year round. We will restore our water sources, and as well as, with the natural regeneration, we are going to meet our 15 billion target even before the 10 years go down the road. And Your Excellency, at the national governance level, your office has taken leadership on this. And together with the Office of the Head of Public Service, we thank you for helping us shepherd the national process of planting 15 billion trees. Your leadership at the interministerial coordination level has gone a long way in providing the required guidance. We thank you for helping our ministry, together with the Ministry of Education, at the cabinet level, to help institutionalize tree growing in all our learning institutions across the country. At the national coordination level, my ministry is working together with the chair of the Environment Committee at the Council of Governors, our members of parliament here, and specifically for members of parliament, we are seeking their support to amend the national government CDF law to increase the allocation for environmental protection, but also beyond increase for them to be able to employ and contribute to the green army that we are employing across the country, so that we shift away from just planting trees to actually nurturing them to maturity. So the Council of Governors, the various MDAs, partners and private sector, we are working with all of them in coordinating both strategy and implementation. Over the next 2 weeks, we will bring all partners together to consolidate all ecosystem restoration strategies, and now that we have our strategic plan, from both state and non-state actors. And this is with a view to have a consolidated ecosystem restoration implementation approach come the short rains in September and moving forward. And like I said, with our wetlands, we can grow trees all year round. We will cascade the tree growing structure to the village level, and with the help of our Green Army, we will provide monitoring and extension services at the community level for this program. Ladies and gentlemen, in other sectors, we also seek to shift the country into linear waste management to circular economy, where waste will be used as raw material for industrial production, job creation, and wealth creation. And like our sister who spoke here just said, we will be moving from waste to wealth. There is even waste to food, Your Excellency. We have seen demonstrations of waste being converted to food. And of course, waste to energy. And we have many players out here in this country who are piloting these ideas. And we are going to work together to take this to a bigger scale. The strategic plan will need some key legal and policy frameworks to give it life. To that extent, we will review the Environmental Management and Coordination Act. which is the backbone legislation for the environment-related policies and strategies. We are also reviewing the Forest Conservation and Management Act of 2016. The forest policy is due for cabinet any time now. We have concluded the process of amending the Climate Change Act to provide for carbon market regulation. And again, this is an area where we need the support of Parliament to help us push it, because this will place Kenya at a very pivotal point in climate action, because once we pass this law and legal framework, Kenya is going to be the first country, almost in the whole globe, to provide leadership in the legal framework for carbon markets. And this is one very key area for climate financing that we hope to target. We are also developing a circular economy strategy, as well as an ecosystem restoration strategy to guide how we deal with our degraded landscapes and wetlands. All this will provide the important levers to facilitate the smooth operation of the ministry in order to deliver on our promise to the people of Kenya. We will ensure that our strategic plan is not a pie in the sky, Your Excellency. And to this extent, we will commit to undertake continuous monitoring of the implementation of this strategic plan. And we will work to ensure that we are on the right path to fulfill our constitutional obligation. Allow me to conclude, Your Excellency, by thanking you, and particularly yourself, for finding time to be here with us for this very important venture. I would also like to express my gratitude to the individuals and stakeholders who contributed to the development of this strategic plan. Your Excellency, I'm new in civil service, but I'm just amazed at the resource in terms of knowledge, skills, expertise that we have in this team here. I don't know if that's how the other ministries are, but these people are very knowledgeable, very skilled, and they have really given me a different view of the public service. I know you are experienced, but I am happy to be leading a very vibrant team, and it's just to encourage the ministry staff in front of His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, that we have no choice but to deliver on this strategic plan in line with our priority areas under the better. And also to thank our development partners, and we continue to encourage you to make sure that the support you give to government is in line to the priority areas that we set out. With these few remarks, I know that they are not very few, I wish to invite now to take this opportunity to ask all of us to be upstanding. And before that, let's give a round of applause to this staff of the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry because of the work that they've been doing. And put our hands together as we invite His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, to make his remarks. And I'm told there's a song that has been, yeah, they say that you need to show us how the gig is done of the song. So the band should be guiding us on that.
That's good enough. All right, thank you. Please be seated. I know you wanted to continue, but we'll save it for another occasion. Well, Madam Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Honorable Soipan Tuya, the Chair of the National Assembly Committee on Environment and Forestry, my friend Gekaria, and the other members of Parliament with you today. principal secretaries present, ambassadors, development partners, whom we have also had the opportunity to listen to, ministry officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I make my remarks, I just want to point out an interesting observation before we started, as we came in. And as we were waiting for the prayer and in the initial meetings, there was a cockerel that made its pronouncements. I think it crowed about 3 times. I didn't know whether to laugh or to clap, because it was like the cockerel was giving us a vote of approval for what we have come to do here today. It was nature speaking. And I was asking myself, Jogoo inawika mjini Nairobi. There's a cockerel actually crowing in Nairobi, in the city of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine what would happen if there was a cockerel crowing in New York, at the heart of New York? Is it possible that you'll find a cockerel crowing in New York? Your guess is as good as mine. Why am I bringing that up? Because it is simple things like those that remind us that we have to blend and get nature back on its course. So we need to give that Jogoo a round of applause. Now my speech. I am pleased to preside over this ceremony at which the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry is among the very few government entities that have launched strategic plans aligned to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda better. Your plan adds on to the good things that the ministry has produced in the short span the Kenya Kwanza administration has been in office. I am reminded of your leadership in the 15 billion National Tree Growing Campaign and the recently approved Cabinet Climate Change Amendment legislation that aims to regulate the carbon markets in support of our nationally determined contributions. In a few weeks' time, you will also be hosting the Africa Climate Summit on behalf of the Kenyan government. I am also aware of the crucial policy and legal proposals intended for the ongoing government legislative agenda roundtables by my office. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not about to stop insisting that strategic planning as a results-based management tool is the instrument with which the public service will use to account for its existence. It means gone are the days when our only delivery accounting tool was to report to work and leave at your own pleasure. Today, as long as you remain in the public service, make strategic plans, service delivery standards, citizen delivery, charters, annual work plans, performance contracts, and staff performance appraisals part of your second nature. There are no shortcuts to efficient and effective public service delivery that the government is committed to. This leads me to performance management, which falls under my office. May I be understood clearly on this matter? I do not intend to take prisoners on this one. The plans you develop, such as the strategic plans, are not just ornamental documents. When we come calling about efficiency and accountability in service delivery, we will judge your suitability to remain relevant by cascading the strategic plan to your signed performance contract, annual work plans, and to whether or not you attained individual targets you set for yourselves. Lest I am misunderstood, such an exercise will carry no favor, ill will, or vendetta. We will use your own commitments, and I repeat, we will use your own commitments to judge your relevance because the government has made promises to Kenyans under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda better. That must be fulfilled. If you are not ready to better the lives of fellow Kenyans, we will not retain you against your will. Madam CS, I cannot help noticing that you have already started ticking off the evaluation template. Under the Kenya Kwanza plan, your ministry handles the issues of agroforestry and sustainable waste management. I note that these two issues are aptly captured under various key result areas of the strategic plan, which means you are in tandem to help the presidency deliver on promises made to Kenyan people. The President's performance contract is with the voters. In a few days' time, we shall in turn be signing our performance contracts with the President. So it means that when the President is going back to his evaluators in 2027, we must do our job so that tusimwangushe amongst his evaluators in 2027. So when we sign ours, we also have a job to do. On job creation, your ministry has recruited the first 2,700 forest rangers and is about to recruit a green army of 4,000. Under your stewardship, the 15 billion National Tree Cover campaign will also directly contribute to job creation when youth and women groups grow and sell seedlings for the greening campaign and in the long term provide nutrition and timber products. I also look forward to your unpacking the circular economy under the strategic plan. I trust that it will help us create jobs during the reduction, reuse, and recycling of waste, apart from providing a clean and healthy environment as anticipated by the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is a country buffeted by climate change. We have just been through a worst drought in 40 years. As a nation, highly dependent on agriculture and tourism, climate change is a priority we cannot turn our back on. Adaptation and mitigation measures required, including early warning mechanisms, are not cheap. But that does not mean we fold our hands and hope for the best. We must soil our hands today to prevent catastrophes tomorrow. This is why I am impressed by details on intervention measures in your strategic plan under the topic on climate change adaptation and mitigation key result area. May I also impress on you to hasten and intensify protection, reforestation, and rehabilitation of Kenya's water towers, while I appreciate the Kenya Water Towers policy and bill that are in the pipeline. Serious intermediate remedial action should be directed to protecting increasingly vulnerable government gazetted forests in some counties. Sometimes we mistake tree cover, where we have achieved 12.1% of the 30% target, with forest cover. We must attune ourselves to statistics that show Kenya's forests are fragmented across the country. Combined forests cover over 37 million hectares. Out of those 37 million hectares, 2.1 million are woodlands, 24.8 million are bushlands, and 10.7% are wooded grasslands. Yet, we are at a meager 9% forest cover, purely out of neglect and destruction. It is commendable that what we have done to protect the Mount Kenya water towers. The annual community rehabilitation of Kaptagat Forest also requires emulating. In the same vein, we must accelerate protection of the Mau water tower. In Kakamega, the only existing tropical rainforest is under encroachment threat. The Save Savo Ecosystem Restoration Initiative in Taita Taveta County needs support. And the Marogori Hills forest, now stripped bare of tree cover, requires urgent reforestation. These areas require fencing and security by enough wardens to protect these forests against human activity. Indeed, I have been approached by these counties to patronize these mitigation activities through planned activities such as marathons to fund afforestation. I ask for your support. Indeed, I was telling the chairman of the water towers, where is he? Oh, here he is, Rashid, that he needs to step up his activity there. And I've touched on Marogoli Hills. Let him come and climb the hills. Apoteze weight kidogo as he does his job. Finally, please feel this pristine place where we are launching the strategic plan today. See the fruits of rehabilitation, conservation, and managing our environment. The fresh air you are breathing and the shade you are enjoying. It is because someone like you planted a tree. It tells us responsible stewardship of the environment starts with you and I. From here, let each of us do ourselves a favor, plant a tree at every available opportunity. A greener, cleaner, and safer environment today equals intergenerational equity tomorrow. It is my pleasure, therefore, to declare the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry Strategic Plan officially launched. Two minutes extra. Madam Tuya, you know, I went to Nairobi Primary School, which is just a few meters away from here. And when it was time for cross-country, we used to come and run in this very beautiful arboretum forest. And when it was time for me to go home, I would walk through the forest to Kelele area. So when I come here, I feel very good because running up those steps down there and going back to school was an interesting moment. So what you chose as a venue is the view is that we must have a few more functions here, but properly regulated so that we do not damage the environment. The other thing that I just want to pick up is that the points that were raised around the waste management, I think that can be a very important milestone and perhaps a significant win for Kenya and for Nairobi in particular. Today, Dandora is just growing bigger and bigger as a dump site. Maybe now it's well over 6 hectares of dump site. The estimated potential for energy from there is, initially it was maybe about 30 megawatts. Perhaps with additional dumping it has gone up. I do not know the exact estimated potential, but I know it is definitely over 30 megawatts of power that can be generated from Dandora. And this goes for other major urban centers. But we have taken too long, and perhaps I'm one of the guilty ones, but so many other people on this. We have an opportunity to correct this, that we need to make a deliberate effort and set funds aside, made available, so that the issue around Dandora can be dealt with effectively. Tokyo today harnesses about 40% of its power from waste. Tokyo, 40% of its power from waste. They generate the energy. There are so many plants that deal and process waste, convert it to energy, and over and above that, the ash that comes from some of these things is used to build, to generate and to put together building blocks, cabros, tiles, materials for paving of roads. Here we are, sitting on a gold mine. We can change this country. It just needs that resolve, and your ministry is giving us a lot of leadership. Yours is an issue is a race against time, if I may use those words again. It's a race against time. We are seeing the floods. We are seeing the wildfires now in Greece and other parts of Europe, into North Africa. The heat waves are hitting very, very effectively and devastatingly. So there's definitely urgency in what we are talking about today. Finally, it is true that if we manage our climate well, we will have built a mega resource, as Mr. Pandamiti said. I don't know whether the statistics are right, but I am told that Nairobi is becoming one of the top retirement homes for officers of the United Nations globally. And one of the things that is really pulling them here is exactly the serenity of our climate. I'm told that there's a possibility that as we sit today, apart from the 6,000 or so United Nations employees who are active, there could be about another 3,000 who have chosen to make Nairobi or Kenya their retirement home. So my message to you is, if you want to live longer, settle in Kenya. And what are we marketing? The serene climate. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Thank you.
Makofi mengine ya kilo. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Naomba tuketi. Na sasa hivi nafasi nyingine ambayo ni ya msingi na ambayo itakuwa ni kama kutamatisha jambo hili ambalo ni la umuhimu mkubwa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hiyo kwa heshima na taadhima kuu, ningeomba bendi yetu itupe tu mrinduko mdogo ili tukaweza kumkaribisha waziri mkuu kuweza kuja hapa kuweza kuzindua rasmi ruwaza hii ambayo tumekuwa tukiingojea. Kwa hiyo bendi, tafadhali naomba mtupe msisimko. Naomba tafadhali mgeni wetu wa heshima ajongee karibia hapa ili kijulikane siku ya leo. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa. Bendi, tutamatishe tafadhali. Bendi, tushasikia utamu tafadhali. Bendi, naomba tutamatishe. Naomba kwamba tutaifanya in style. We'll do it in style. Our chief guest will do this in style. And because I know we all know how to count, we'll count to 3. And then now our chief guest can cut the ribbon as a sign of unveiling the strategic plan for 2023 to 2027 for the Republic of Kenya. Okay, are we ready? You repeat after me. 1. Repeat after me. 1, 2, 3. There we are. There we are. Let us clap more. Let us clap more for this unveiling. It's a wonderful sight before us, and we take pride in it. Thank you so much, our chief guests. We may kindly maybe get back to our seats, but perhaps maybe the chief guest has a word for us. Okay, kindly the photo session, if we can quickly roll this out. You know, back from where we come from, we have the challenge of hot porridge. When you swallow hot porridge, when you're not aware, then you know what it does. So if you can quickly roll this out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And so our guest of honor and all invited guests, we would request that we get seated for the vote of thanks. And also there will be a session for cutting the cake. So that we can continue towards the end of this particular event. Then I would wish to let you know that just remain seated, because even lunch, later on after the photo session, lunch will be served on the table where you are seated. Therefore, you'll have to eat at your comfort. And so may I take this opportunity now to call up the person doing the vote of thanks. Kindly please move forward. Emilio Mogo from NEMA. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, MC. The Prime Cabinet Secretary, our chief guest today, our chief guest for today, the chief the Prime Cabinet Secretary, our team leader, Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. My role this afternoon is a very simple one, just to pass a vote of thanks. Chief guest, I will start by thanking the Almighty God for giving us this occasion and for giving us good health to be here today, to do what you have just done, because this is what is going to thank the Almighty God for that, because we cannot take it for granted. Secondly, chief guest, I want to thank you very much. You know, I'm sure, and I will be talking for many, a lot of us may not have seen you, live, as they say in other places. But here we are today with you, chief guest, encouraging us and giving us the confidence. You've told us that when you come to evaluate, you are not going to be biased. It's going to be based on malice or anything. It's going to be based on what we have promised to do. And speaking as one of the team players and led by our cabinet secretary and the principal secretaries that we have, I want to give you confidence that we shall not shame you and His Excellency, the President, in delivering what we have to do. Thirdly, I want to say a big thank you to our team leader, the cabinet secretary, and your principal secretaries, because you have learned from the front. You have given us the confidence to walk the path. Chief guest, environmental matters and environmental politics, I'm sure you are aware, are not for the weak-kneed. They are not for the faint-hearted. You have to think on your feet on a daily basis, on a continuous basis. And therefore, for the team and led by the leadership you have shown us, together with the principal secretaries, those of us who are serving in the state corporations within your ministry, is what we need. That political confidence that we have to do what we have to do, so that you for that. To the PS from Treasury Planning, Thank you very much. We'll be coming to your place many times, and I think it has been said. So for gracing this occasion and seeing what has been planned, now you will understand when we come to discuss about these sources, again read by our CS, then it will be that much easier for you to understand what we are asking for. To the institutions within the ministry, led by their chairmen who are here, my colleague chairman, the CEOs who are here, thank you very much for the effort, for the support that we are providing this function, for the commitments and the assurance that we are going to be involved in the implementation. And take it from me, speaking on behalf of my colleagues, chief guests and CS, that we have committed ourselves to push forward the strategic plan. Chief Secretary, Prime Cabinet Secretary is not going to be an ornamental document, to borrow your words. This is going to be an operational document from where we are going to derive our operations. Speaking for my own organization, NEMA, we are just about to do our strategic plan. We've been provided with the leadership because our strategic plan in NEMA, and I believe it is the case for the other institutions, will borrow from this, the delivery of the CS's strategic plan. So we are taking cue from here, and that's why we are happy that this is coming at this very early opportunity. To our development partners and stakeholders, thank you very much for walking the journey with us, for sitting with us, for giving us the confidence that the work that is ahead of us, we have partners that we can rely on. To Honorable Gekaria and the Departmental Committee in Parliament, oversighting the sector from that side, we thank you very much. We don't take it for granted that you have come to commune with us during this very important function, because again, this is what gives us confidence, provides checks and balances, and therefore we are going to be very encouraged as we move forward. To all of us, because I may not be able to thank everybody, I want to say this was a great day. Work begins now. And finally, I want to thank those people who are normally forgotten. That is the MCs, led by none other than the humorous Principal Secretary, because they have done a wonderful job. They have kept us here without getting bored. Thank you very much for that work. I had been asked to call for... Thank you very much. I had been told to say something about the player, but the Principal Secretary is going to take care of that. I wasn't feeling very confident to do that when I have bishops in the house, so I would excuse myself for that. So thank you very much, all of us, as we go and implement this strategic plan. Thank you.
Asante sana. Kwa wakati huu tutakuwa na picha tatu tu, only 3 photo sessions, and I'll pronounce them, and we'll do the photo sessions here so that we can have something to remember about our chief guest. We need one photo just for you and the CS. Kindly photograph us if we can do that quickly, and Your Excellency, you shall remain there until the end of the photo session, kindly. Okay, now can we have the PS join the chief guests and also the members of parliament present? Members of parliament present, kindly join the chief guest and the CS. I guess the chairman of committees are also members of parliament. Okay, kindly. Then after that, the last one will be our development partners. We'll have to join our chief guests so that the picture will be, or the photo will be complete. Kindly, all the development partners join the chief guest. Yeah, and as we finish that, wakati huu sasa tunaomba kwamba kuna zimu ila keki hapa na itabidi mgeni wetu wa heshima atangulize katika kulikata ili tukaweza kulimega sisi wote pamoja kama sherehe ya kuzindua mpango huu. So the photo session is ended kindly. So the chief guest will come and help us to cut the cake to launch the strategic plan for this period 2023-2027. So kindly Your Excellency, I'm sure you are an expert in cutting this. And we are looking forward. So can we have the Kata Kata song, please? Keki kata keki, kata, kata, kata tukule, kata keki, kata keki, kata keki, kata. Okay, there's one more youth group that kindly come forward so that you can have a photo session with the... We can also have the CS and the PSS. Also, can the PSS and the CS cut the cake so that we don't tie our chief guests asije akakataa kuja kwetu kwa mwaliko mwingine. Naomba pia PSS makatibu wetu naomba tupande kwenye jukwaa.
Let me request all of us, all protocols observed, Prime Cabinet Minister, Honorable Minister for Environment, to be upstanding so that we can close with a word of prayer. Shall we pray together? We want to thank you, our Father who art in heaven, for many answered prayers, for your help since we started this program. We started in and with prayer, and you've been with us. Thank you for the seamless way